It was just another quiet morning in London. The sky was gray. People were busy, walking fast, talking on phones, catching buses, and reading newspapers. But there was something in the air that does something different, quiet feeling, like the whole city was holding its breath. Outside the hospital gates, a small group of people stood waiting. They didn't know why they were there, really. There had been whispers a message passed from one person to another online in small circles. They might come today, someone had said. Prince William and Princess Kate. Together. It had been weeks, no months, since anyone had seen them together in public. After the news about Kate's illness had been quietly shared, the royal couple had disappeared from the public eye. No interviews, no appearances. Only a single photo had been released, a tired smile from Kate in a chair, holding her children's drawings. She looked thin, pale, but her eyes were strong. Still, it wasn't enough to calm the hearts of those who loved her from afar. Among the people waiting outside the hospital was an older woman named Margaret. She had come all the way from Manchester. She held a small bouquet of yellow flowers in her wrinkled hands. Her daughter had died of cancer 3 years ago, and somehow, watching Kate fight through her own battle brought her peace. Ali, want to see her smile again? She whispered to the woman next to her. That's all. Time passed slowly. People kept checking their watches. Children grew restless. Then suddenly, without warning, silence, not the kind of silence that happens when people are bored or tired. This was different. It was the kind of silence that comes when something sacred begins. A black car pulled up quietly in front of the hospital, no music, no flashing lights. The doors didn't open at once. For a moment, no one moved. The whole street seemed frozen. Then, the door opened. Prince William stepped out first. He wore a dark navy suit. His face was calm, but his eyes told another story. They looked tired, like he hadn't slept in days. He gave a small nod to the crowd, his hands folded in front of him, and then she appeared. Princess Kate. She stepped out slowly, gently. She was wearing a long, soft coat, the color of the early morning sky. Her hair was pulled back neatly. Oh, she was thinner than before, and her hands trembled just a little as she held onto William's arm. But she was there, standing, breathing. Smiling at first, no one said a word. People just stared, as if trying to believe their eyes. Some covered their mouths. Others reached for tissues or held their phones without pressing record. Kate looked around at the faces in the crowd. She saw children holding signs that said, "We love you." She saw elderly people wiping their eyes. She saw the silence and felt the love hidden inside it. Then she did something simple. Something small. She waved. It wasn't a grand royal wave. It was soft, human, real, and that was when it happened. The tears came not just from the women or the older fans, but from men, teenagers, even children. It was like a wave of feeling had passed through everyone at once. Not because she looked perfect or spoke strong words, but because she was there. After everything, she was still standing. William gently placed his hand over hers, and together they walked toward the hospital entrance. A young boy whispered to his mother, "Is she going to be okay now?" His mother didn't answer, just nodded, eyes full of tears, and just like that, the moment was gone. The doors closed behind them, and the silence slowly turned into soft whispers. Sniffles and claps. People didn't cheer wildly. They didn't scream. Instead, they stood quietly, hand over heart, watching the doors where the couple had walked through. It felt like the world had just witnessed something more powerful than a speech, louder than any announcement. It was a reminder. Sometimes just showing up is the bravest thing a person can do. And for many in that crowd, it's that one moment, that small wave, that quiet strength would stay in their hearts forever. They had appeared and left everyone in tears. Everyone thought the emotional moment was over. But inside the hospital, a different story was about to unfold when nobody expected, not even William and Kate. The soft click of the hospital door behind them felt like a seal. As it shut, the noise from outside faded completely. What remained was quiet, heavy, and thick. Quiet only found in places where life and death often sit side by side. Kate held tightly onto William's arm. Her fingers, though delicate, were firm. Every step she took inside the building was slow, but full of meaning. It had been her first time walking without help in weeks. The doctors had advised her to rest more, but she had insisted. "I have to go," she'd told William that morning. "Not for the cameras. For me, the hallway smelled of antiseptic and cold air." Nurses glanced up from their stations, their eyes widening with surprise. A few blinked fast, trying to hold back tears. Some looked at Kate with admiration, others with quiet heartbreak. Many of them had seen pain before, but this was different. This was someone they had seen only on TV and magazines, standing right there, fragile but brave. They didn't stop for handshakes or greetings. The hallway led them straight to the children's cancer ward. Kate paused outside the door. She looked at William, her lips trembling just a little. "Will they be scared?" she asked softly. "No," William whispered. "They'll be happy to see you." She nodded. Then she opened the door. Inside the room were 5 young children, ages ranging from 3 to 9. They were sitting on small beds, some with tubes, some with no hair, others wrapped in colorful blankets covered in cartoon prints. But when Kate walked in, they didn't see a princess. They saw hope. One girl gasped and pointed. "It's her," she said with a shy smile. Her name was Lily. She was 7 and had been in the hospital for 4 months. Her mother stood up, tears welling in her eyes. "Thank you for coming," she whispered, barely able to speak. Kate walked over to Lily, slowly kneeling beside her. "Bed! May I sit here?" she asked. Lily nodded. Wide-eyed, Kate sat down gently and reached for the girl's hand. "I know you're very brave," she said. "I'm trying to be brave too." Lily looked at her. "Do you get scared sometimes?" Kate smiled, soft, honest, full of pain and love. "Yes, all the time. But I keep going. Just like you." At the other end of the room, William spoke with 2 young boys, showing them pictures of his children, Charlotte and Louis. The boys smiled and laughed quietly, one even asking, "Do they fight like we do?" William laughed. "All the time," he replied. Back near the door, a nurse stood frozen, watching Kate sit on the floor with the children. Her name was Priya. She had worked in that ward for 7 years. She had seen many visitors, celebrities, politicians, even royalty. But never anything like this. Kate wasn't acting like someone important. She was acting like someone who understood. After almost 40 minutes, it was time to leave. The doctors had only approved a short visit, worried about Kate's health. As Kate stood up to say goodbye, Lily reached out again and tugged gently at her sleeve. "Will you come back?" she asked. Kate leaned down and whispered, "Yes, I promise." Outside the hospital, the crowd was still there. Some had left, but many remained, not knowing what they were waiting for, just that it felt right to stay. When the doors opened again, and William and Kate stepped out, the crowd didn't cheer. They didn't wave flags or chant names. Instead, they clapped, soft, respectful, like people do when something sacred has passed before them. Margaret, the old woman with the yellow flowers, stepped forward slowly. She didn't say anything. She didn't need to. She simply held out the flowers toward Kate. Kate reached for them with both hands, her eyes watering again. "Thank you," she said, her voice breaking. And then, unexpectedly, Kate stepped forward and hugged her. The crowd gasped. Cameras flashed. But for a moment, the world faded. It was just 2 women holding each other, one who had lost a daughter, and one who feared losing herself. That hug said what no speech ever could. William placed his hand on Kate's back, steady and proud. The car doors opened again. They got in. But the that moment would stay in the hearts of everyone who saw it. A moment where royalty didn't mean power or gold. It meant courage and the quiet strength of simply showing up with love. 3 days after the hospital visit, something unexpected happened. It was early morning at Kensington Palace. The birds were singing. The sunlight fell gently across the garden. But inside the palace there was tension, not panic, just a quiet, tight feeling like something important was about to happen, Kate sat by the window, holding a folded piece of paper. Her hands were shaking slightly. William stood nearby, watching her. "Are you sure?" he asked gently. She looked up at him, her eyes a little red from crying. "I didn't write it for the world," she said. "I wrote it for myself. Maybe someone out there needs it too." He nodded, kneeling beside her. "Then let them read it." Kate took a deep breath. That letter was her heart on paper. She had written it late one night alone after a painful round of treatment. There were no cameras then, no makeup, no perfect smiles, just fear, pain, and hope. By noon, the Royal Press Office released her letter to the public, and within hours it spread across the world. It began simply. "Anyone who is walking through the dark?" She wrote about nights when she couldn't sleep, about mornings when she felt too weak to move. She wrote about her children's questions, the ones she didn't always have answers to. She shared the truth behind her quiet smile, the weight she carried, and the strength she found in small things, like a warm cup of tea or a hand on her back. "I am scared too," she wrote, "but I choose to keep walking, not because I am strong, but because I have to be, one step at a time." People across the world read her words and wept. The letter was honest, raw. It didn't try to be perfect. It didn't sound like a princess. It sounded like a mother, a woman, a fighter. In hospitals, nurses printed it out and pinned it to the walls. In schools, teachers read it aloud to students. On phones, strangers shared it again and again, writing comments like, "This gave me strength today. Now I know I'm not alone." Margaret, the woman who had given Kate flowers, saw the letter too. She sat in her living room, tears falling down her cheeks. She held the paper close to her chest and whispered, "You're doing it, love. You're helping people." But not everyone reacted with tears. In a small room, in a different hospital, a young girl named Lily was staring at the letter on her mother's phone. She had been very quiet since Kate's visit. Her illness had gotten worse, and her body was tired. After reading the letter, Lily finally spoke. "She's not just pretty," she said. "She's real." Her mother kissed her forehead. "Yes, she is." Back at the palace, William sat alone in the garden, held a cup of tea, thinking about the letter. Was proud of Kate. So deeply. Proud. But there was something in him that ached, because he remembered how hard it was to watch her suffer in silence. To hear her cry in the night when she thought he was asleep. To hold her hand during treatments, pretending not to be scared. He had grown up hiding pain. That was what royals were taught. But now he knew better. Now he knew that showing pain, showing truth, is what made people feel seen. Later that evening, they received a letter in return. It wasn't from a news outlet or a famous person. It was from a man in Scotland, a man in his 50s, who had lost his wife to cancer the year before. His words were simple, handwritten, but full of heart. "I haven't smiled since she left," he wrote, "but your words made me remember her laughter. Thank you, Catherine. You made an old man feel less alone." Kate read it out loud, her voice breaking at the end. She folded the paper slowly and placed it in a box on her nightstand. William looked at her. "You're doing more than you think," he said. She looked back at him, a soft smile on her lips. "So are you." And just like that, something had shifted. What began as a hospital visit had become something bigger. A ripple of honesty, a wave of quiet strength. Kate had opened her heart. In doing so, she had opened a door for others. Door to healing, a door to hope, a door to being real. The world was watching. For the first time, they weren't watching a princess. They were watching a woman who dared to be human. It wasn't a holiday. It wasn't a royal event.
Oh.
But still, millions of people across the world paused their day, turned on their screens, and waited. Something important was about to happen. The palace had announced it quietly, just one day before. A special message from Princess Catherine. That was all they said. No press conference, no media buzz. Just a single line, and the whole world held its breath. In homes, schools, shops, and hospitals, people waited. It wasn't just royal fans now. It was cancer patients, mothers, fathers, nurses, widows, children, people. who had been touched not by a crown but by a letter. A moment. A woman who showed her pain without shame. At exactly 11 a.m., the screen turned black. Then slowly, it faded, and Kate sat alone on a wooden chair in a simple room. No throne, no fancy dress, just a soft sweater and a small cross necklace. Her hair was pulled back, her eyes were tired but calm. She looked directly at the camera, and then she spoke. "Thank you for listening to my story, and for letting me be real with you." Her voice was quiet but steady. She didn't read from a paper. She spoke from her heart. She talked about her battle, the fear, the pain. The long nights where everything felt too heavy. The guilt of not being able to play with her children some days. The way William held her hand without needing to speak. Then she paused. "But today is not about me." People leaned forward. What did she mean? "Today, I want to speak for those who never got a chance to finish their story. The mothers who said goodbye too soon. The children who fought hard and still smiled. The fathers who held it all together, even while breaking inside." Her voice cracked slightly. She took a deep breath. "Their names may not be known, their faces may not be shown, but their strength is the reason I found mine." The room behind her stayed quiet. No music, no editing. Just her words, and the silence that made them louder. She shared stories of letters she had received, of a boy who sent her his lucky stone, of a nurse who said she cried not because Kate was sick, because she finally saw someone speak the truth. "We're all walking through something," she said, "and it's okay to say, 'I'm not okay today.' It's okay to fall. What matters is we keep getting up." At that moment, tears were falling all over the world, in waiting rooms, in bedrooms, on crowded buses. She looked into the camera again. One final time. Don't wait to be perfect to help someone. Just be present. Just be kind. That's how we change the world, one gentle word at a time. And then she smiled. A real smile. Small, quiet, but full of peace. The screen faded to black. Outside the palace, people had gathered not because they were told to, but because they felt something pulling them there. There were no royal flags, no gold decorations, just people. Some brought candles, others brought drawings, cards, and small paper hearts with handwritten notes. One note said, "You reminded me that being human is more important than being strong." Margaret was there too. She held Lily's picture in her hands. The young girl had passed away just a week after Kate's visit, but before she left she had whispered to her mother, "Tell her thank you for seeing me." William stood by the window, watching the quiet crowd below. He didn't speak. He didn't need to. Knew what his wife had done. She hadn't just survived. She hadn't just spoken. She had reached into the hearts of millions and reminded them that they weren't alone. Later that night, as the sun went down, a single candle flickered on the palace balcony. It was small, easy to miss, but those who saw it knew what it meant. Hope, light, life. And somewhere deep inside the palace, Kate rested, not with fear, not with doubt, but with peace, because she had done what many never dared to do. She had told the truth. And in doing so, she had left behind something stronger than titles, crowns, or fame. She had left behind a legacy of love in the world. For once was silent not because it had nothing to say, but because it was finally listening.